becoming the best version of yourself, you can no longer react and respond to people and places and things that are no longer for you. Welcome or welcome back. It's your favorite mental health specialist, High Guidance, and that is what we're going to be talking about in today's video. So if you see me looking away, it's literally because I have my notes right in front of me. With that being said, because there's no right or wrong way to heal yourself, always and only take what resonates as well as leave the rest. So if it doesn't apply, then it means it's not in a line, which means it's not for you, so don't force it. As well as grab your pens, grab your paper, and be prepared to take notes. In this video, we're going to go over and discuss why it's so important to not react and respond to certain people, places, and things that are no longer for you, as well as what you can do to work on that to improve yourself, as well as some recommendations, some reminders, some disclaimers, and just certain things that you need to be aware of. So starting off the introduction of today's video, once you elevate, and when you elevate, you're no longer going to have the same ideologies. You're no longer going to have the same beliefs. You're no longer you're no longer going to even like talk the same or think the same. So you have to realize that with growth and expansion comes evolution. So number one, the first disclaimer, it is okay to evolve. It is okay to quote unquote change. It is okay to not think the way you think and do the things you used to do. This doesn't make you less of a person. This doesn't mean that you have to be superior to people. It just means that it is no longer serving you. Once a purpose is fulfilled, that is it. That's all. So what you used to do, who you used to be, if that's not what you want to do, you are entitled to that. So number two, with change, is knowing that if anything or anybody is not willing to support you or pour into you, then they have to go. It's non-negotiable. The longer you surround yourself with people and places and things that you're meant to outgrow or cut off, the longer you're going to suffer, the more you're going to feel stuck and stagnant. I'm speaking from experience. The best thing that I've learned within my 20s, as I am coming to an end, because I am 29, okay, was knowing that the people that I met at 20 and who I was at 20 is not who I am at 29. Like, I don't surround myself with 99.9 with the line over it, any of the people that I used to surround myself with. And the reason is because where I wanted to be, who I wanted to do, and what I wanted to see, they were not in alignment with, and vice versa. Like, it is okay that you meet certain people in certain parts of your life and in your journey to help you decide what it is that you want. This doesn't mean that if you were to see these people that you have to be rude and nasty, because I've had times where I've seen certain people and certain people see me and I was respectful, didn't have any negative energy, didn't have anything to say, because it's just like I knew that the chapter and the season why I was in their life was for a reason. And it's really important that you learn whatever lessons that you have with certain people, places, and things, so therefore you don't take it personally. You can outgrow people can outgrow you. You can still communicate, but you have to understand that what you used to do is not who you are now. So like, if people are not willing to get to know the new version of you or support you, you don't need them in your life. So the third disclaimer is that when you are learning to react and respond differently, you have to understand that it's a process. Like, we learn from experiences, we learn from education, we learn from being around certain people, places, and things. So like, what we see, what we're taught in school, what we're taught in our communities, what we're taught at home, like, you have to realize that unlearning mindsets and beliefs is not a one size fit all. And that's why my disclaimer in every single one of my videos, I say healing is not a one size fit all. Learning to think differently and become a different version of yourself could take years, months, days, like decades. Some people, their entire life. That is okay. You don't have to rush yourself to evolve and think differently. You don't have to compare yourself, because once again, if you're outgrowing people, it doesn't matter what they think. It doesn't matter how people perceive you. So lastly, when you are changing and evolving, you are going to do things differently, which means how you look at life, your perspective, even the people you surround yourself with. Like, you may not have surrounded yourself with a certain kind of people back in the day versus now. Like, be okay with that. If these are the things that you want, then you have to be okay with letting go of what no longer serves you, because it's in the way. So now, when it comes to reacting and responding differently and, surrounding yourself with the right people, places, and things, the first recommendation is just to know that you do have to be intentional. in order for you to accomplish certain goals, which we talk about all the time, and this is why you have your notes in your comment sections to be responding and engaging, you have to be intentional about what it is that you want. So if you want a specific life, if you want to surround yourself with certain people, if you want to do certain things, you really have to be locked in and only surround yourself with certain things. So for example, let's just say you're somebody who wants to eat healthier. You do have to surround yourself with people who are eating healthy as well. Like, you cannot continue to surround yourself with people who do not care about what they eat if you want to be healthy. It is very much so that serious. If you want to be financially stable and financially literate, you have to make sure that you're watching people on YouTube who are financially stable, who are financially literate. You are surrounding yourself with people in environments who can help you, like an accountant or a personal advisor, a financial advisor, excuse me. You cannot continue to surround yourself with people who are not in the same energy, because what happens is you get distracted, you limit yourself, and you don't grow. Certain people sometimes can be distractions. This is why it's so important to know what season you're in, which I'm going to make a video talking about that, so you're not being distracted and you get to where you need to be. So the second recommendation is knowing that when you are learning to let go of old mindsets and old behaviors, you're going to feel a certain type of way. Like, you have to grieve what people say, or have what do people say? The dark night of a soul, or a ego death. That's what, if you're like into new age spirituality, quote unquote, even though it's nothing new, but for people who are not really there, you're gonna quote unquote have an ego death. This is what people say. And what an ego death is like the old version of you, obviously, because you have to grow and evolve. You have to outgrow that version of you. Let me keep it cute. Let me keep it different words. So like, if let's just say in your past you were somebody who was insecure, but you want to be confident, like the future version of you is confident, you have to be okay with knowing that you had insecurities. Like, you have to accept your past in order for you to accept your future. Until you learn how to accept your past, which I've made videos talking about, make sure you check that out, you're gonna struggle. Like, when you're grieving or having ego deaths of your old self, you're going to have moments where you go through withdrawals, because your future self and your past self, the only difference is what you're doing and what you're not doing. So it's like, if your future self is confident and your past self is insecure, your present moment, you're going to have moments where you feel mad and you're going to feel frustrated, you're going to feel overwhelmed, you're going to be like, why did I tolerate this, or why did I do that? That's because in your past, quote unquote, maybe you didn't have boundaries, maybe you didn't stand up for yourself, maybe you didn't believe in yourself, versus your future, who's confident and strong and abundant. You know, like, you can do these things. Like, it's a process is what I'm trying to say. It's a process. So it's like, as you're learning to have your dark night of the soul, or your ego death, or your shedding, you have to allow yourself grace, because it's like, if you knew better, you would do better. I talk about this all the time, you guys. If you're new here, I give you guys 3 things that I went through that was extremely traumatic. One of those 3 things was being in a car accident. I was 19 years old. That was 10 years ago, you guys. Nobody taught me how to drive. I had to learn how to drive myself. I've driven one time with my biological mother, and the other time with a friend's mom. And when I went to driving school, but we'll talk about that in a different video. Other than me going to driving school, because legally that's how I got my license back in like 2013, 2014. Oh my gosh. I think 2013, 2014 is when I went to driving school. That's a long time ago. But anyways, nobody taught me how to drive, you guys. So I had to learn from experience how to drive a car. Now, 10 years later, vroom, 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 zoom, 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 I've gotten better. I've improved. But it's like, I could not have beaten myself up so bad knowing that nobody taught me how to drive. Now, of course, when things happen to you in the moment, like I said, you're gonna feel some type of way. Like, immediately, I'm not gonna lie, I was so shocked. Like, I had really bad PTSD because I literally almost died. I was just grateful that I was alive. Afterwards, once I was able to calm down, you know, and I was okay, of course I was like sad, because I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, I just totaled my car. Now how am I supposed to get to work? Like, it was a lot of things that I was going through at that time. Like, I'm like, now I can't go to work. I didn't have a job for a while because I didn't have a car. Like, it was a lot. But I had to realize as I've moved on and as I've matured, because you're going to move on from things in life. It's okay if nobody told you that it is all right. If nobody taught me how to drive, that's not something I need to continue to be so angry. And you guys, there's a lot of like dust bunnies floating in the air. I don't need to continue to be angry. And that's the same thing with you. Like, it is okay that you went through certain things in your past. Like I said, until you learn how to make peace with your past and you learn to be okay with your past, you're going to think it's the end of the world. And sometimes maybe you don't have nobody telling you. And this is why I created this platform, to tell you. You are going to move past your situations. How do I know? Because you're not dead. Until you die, that's when you need to be concerned. But at that point, I mean, YOLO, you only live once, okay? All right? So it's like, feel how you feel, discuss how you feel, and learn how to do better. Because that's what it is. Until you just start to do better, until you allow yourself to improve, you're constantly going to be angry. You're constantly going to be frustrated. You're constantly going to beat yourself up. That's the truth. The only reason why you're so like bent out of shape is because there's some type of fear or there's some type of limitation telling you that you're not going to overcome this situation. But speaking from experience, the moment you go through something is the moment you overcome it. Like, life is very much so that quickly. Things happen very quickly. And it doesn't seem like it because it's like we're going through it in a moment. But like I said, unless you're dead, you're going to overcome everything that you go through as long as you're willing to move forward. Now, of course, if you don't move forward, this is why it's so important that when you go through trials and tribulations, you learn how to solve your problems immediately, which we'll be talking about soon. You will feel stuck and stagnant. But speaking from experience, in order for you, like I said, to change, you have to allow yourself to accept that you did the things you did. Like, I had to accept that if nobody taught me how to drive, I don't need to be constantly beating myself up. I don't constantly need to be so hard on myself. And, you know, no. And I'm not. And now, ever since like 10 years later, since I've had 10 years of experience of driving, I take my time. Like, I don't like people that rush. I don't like people who drive in and out because, like I said, I've been in enough car accidents to know that you can die at any moment. And I don't trust people who drive like that. Like, unless you're like a NASCAR driver, you know, and even still, never mind, I'm not even gonna get into that. Even still, like, they have to wear helmets. Like, if you're not somebody who does that, like, professionally or whatever, I don't encourage you trying to be in a rush. Like, people are always trying to be in a rush, and it's like, you could easily lose your life. And sometimes, some people have to go through certain things to realize that, but it's like, you shouldn't have to keep going through certain things in order for you to realize, like, we don't have to suffer in order to be successful. And that's a different topic within itself. So lastly, when it comes to you knowing that you're gonna change, know that it's okay. And that goes back to the first disclaimer and the first recommendation, but be excited. Learn to be excited. And in order for you to be excited, I'm going to make a video talking about that, like finding the joy in things, knowing that it's okay that you had to learn from your past. You should never be embarrassed or ashamed. And if anything or anybody makes you feel embarrassed or ashamed, stop telling them your business and stop surrounding yourself with them. When you become the best version of yourself, you're going to do things differently. You may talk differently. You may walk differently. It's a process. But until you grieve your past, until you go through your withdrawals, until you book a service and a session with me, until you take your notes, until you follow me on all social media platforms, until you go to God, Ancestors Universe, see a psychiatrist, see a therapist, you're going to think it's the end of the world. It's not. And it's not. And I also made a video talking about how to face your fears. So I love you, your love. Let me know what you guys want to talk about, what your experiences are. What did you have to change? What did you have to grow? How is it making you feel? Like, what is your experience? As well as, like I said, follow me on all my social media platforms. All the information is down in the description box below. Let me know, like I said, if you guys are ready for me to turn on my hair website and so you guys can book your service and your sessions. But follow me on Instagram and on TikTok because I'll be going live talking about that. Okay? Peace.